I used AI to tailor my resume for a data analyst job. It took 4 rounds. I sent it off and it got me the interview. It did not get me the job. Both of those matter. Here is the part that makes this worth 10 minutes of your time. I also read resumes. I am a department manager and applications come across my desk. So I know the fear because I hear it constantly. Recruiters can smell an AI resume. They trash it on site. Do not risk it. I am one of the people doing the trashing, and most of the time, I cannot tell.
So here is the real question. Not whether an AI can write a resume. It can. The question is, how to use one and not end up holding a document that reads exactly like everybody else's. A quick note on what this is. The person you just heard uses these tools every day, and he reads job applications as part of his work. That combination is the reason this video exists. It is not professional career counseling, and it is not legal advice about hiring. It is how one hiring manager actually does it, and what he sees from the other side. Start with the fear, because it is mostly misplaced. The claim is that a recruiter can smell an AI resume. Consider what spotting one would actually require. The person reading your application has never read anything else you have written. There is no baseline, nothing to compare against. They are being asked to detect a forgery without ever having seen the original. Some managers do say they can spot it. That claim is worth exactly as much as the evidence behind it, and there is rarely any. Nobody goes back afterward and checks. One thing does get through occasionally: a heavy run of M-dashes, those long horizontal lines that split a sentence in half. Hold on to that, because it comes back later and it turns out to be useful. But M-dashes are a habit, not a fingerprint. Plenty of people write that way on purpose. Here is what actually decides it, and it is far less exotic than detection software. The first pass is a relevance test. Do you have experience related to this job or education that fits it? The experience does not have to be an exact match. It does have to be relevant. And in a healthy applicant pool, there are usually enough people who clear that bar on one count or the other, which reframes this entire exercise, so sit with it for a second. Your resume is very rarely winning the job on its own. It is competing among people who are already qualified. Its job is to get you into the room. That is the whole assignment. Now, the software, because that is where most of the fear actually lives. Applicant tracking systems are real, and most larger employers use one. What it does is read your resume into structured fields, then rank you against the job description on skills, experience, and qualifications. The better ones understand that project management and managed projects are the same thing. Notice what is not on that list. It is not asking who wrote the words or what wrote them. It is asking whether you fit. So the software and the human are screening for the same thing: relevance. Neither one is checking authorship. Separate detection tools do exist, and some employers run them during the human review. Hold that thought because it comes back at the end, and it is not the reassuring part.
Ask me for a resume for a project manager and you will get the most probable one. I am predicting likely text. And likely is another word for average.
And that is the actual reason this matters, which is not the reason everyone gives. Average is precisely what loses a relevance contest. The details that make you the right person for this specific job are, by definition, the least typical words in the document. The number you moved, the mess you cleaned up, the scope you actually held. Those are the first things a generic draft smooths away because they are unusual, and unusual is what a prediction engine trims. So the risk is not that you get caught, the risk is that you get flattened. The version of you that comes back is competent, tidy, and indistinguishable from 40 other people who are also qualified.
We look into AI and release new videos each week. Like and subscribe to stay informed.
So let me walk you through what those 4 rounds actually were, because none of it was magic, and most of it was correction. First, I gave it the link to the job posting. That did not work. I had to copy the listing and paste the text in directly. Small thing, but it is the first thing that may happen to you. I attached my current resume so it had my actual history to work from. It came back with options for what to emphasize, which was genuinely useful. Then it ran past 2 pages, so I asked it to bring that down. And then the one that mattered. I asked about the language and the formatting, and what came back was written the way the AI likes to write, not the way I write. So there was an editing pass where I went through and made it sound like me again. 4 rounds before I was comfortable sending it. Now here is the thing almost nobody tells you about those 4 rounds.
Most people do those rounds, send the resume, and then start again from nothing on the next job. Same 4 rounds, same corrections, every time. They are paying for round 1 over and over forever, which is the wrong thing to keep, because round 1's real output was never the resume. It was everything the tool learned about how you want to be written about. That is worth saving. And you can just save it.
So at the end of those 4 rounds, I had it write everything we had learned into one file, a plain text document. That file still exists, and I still use it. Here is what is in it, and it is probably not what you would guess. It is not my career history. That comes from attaching my existing resumes, which already have all of that. The file is about my voice, samples of how I actually write, my preferences on language, practical formatting rules, like organizing lists as bullet points. And yes, one line in there says no M dashes. That is the part I want you to notice. The one thing that ever gave an AI resume away in my own experience is now a rule in a file. I wrote it down once. I have never had to fix it again. The file also stays alive. It updates it when it runs into a correction, and I tell it to update when I notice something myself. So now, when I need a resume for a new posting, I give it the job description. That is it. What comes back needs minor edits, if any. And I mean literally minor.
Notice what just happened, because it answers the question this video started with. The way to stop it sounding like an AI is not to edit every draft until it sounds like you. That is round 1, forever. The way is to teach it your voice one time. In a file, it reads every time. The method and the promise turn out to be the same thing. And this technique is not really about resumes. It is one example of something that works anywhere you use these tools repeatedly. Write down what you keep having to correct. Keep it somewhere the tool reads. Stop paying for the same lesson twice.
Let me finish with what I would tell you as the person reading your application, rather than the person using the tool. Make the effort to make it readable. Review it to catch mistakes. Those 2 sound obvious, and they are still where most applications lose. Ask people who are in a position to help you for their help. Most people never do. And use the tools. There are AI assistants and services that will help you make your resume the best it can be, and you should take advantage of them. I am telling you that as someone who screens these, there is no shame in it. That goes double if you have recently finished school. The office at your college that helps with resumes and interview skills is badly underused, and it is genuinely valuable. I have watched new graduates walk right past it. Now the line that matters most, and I want to be plain about it. Polished means presenting everything in a positive way and looking professional. Nothing that is untrue, nothing dishonest. Do not lie on your resume. It will catch up to you.
So, the takeaway. Nobody can reliably tell whether a machine helped you write something. That is not the standard worth aiming at anyway. The standard is that what you send out is true, it is relevant, and it sounds like you. Control what is in your power to control, which is what you submit. That applies to a resume, and it applies just as well to homework or a report at work. Your name goes on it. That is the whole obligation. Build the file that already knows how you write. Then read it over before you send it so it sounds like how you write. And one last thing, for the day you find yourself on the other side of the desk, remember those detection tools. When researchers put 7 of them to a proper test, they failed in one very specific direction. Essays written by people whose first language was not English got flagged as machine-written more than half the time. Essays by native speakers did not. The tools were not finding machines, they were finding people who write in simpler, more predictable English, which is exactly what writing in your second language often looks like. OpenAI quietly withdrew its own detector for a related reason. It was not accurate enough to be worth having. So do not be too quick to jump to conclusions. The way these tools compose text came from somewhere. Some people genuinely sound like that, and being wrongly accused of it costs somebody a job they had earned. For anyone who wants a structured way to get better at using these tools, Anthropic runs its own training courses, free to the public. Anthropic Academy. It is linked below with everything else. This was an easy way to get a handle on the topic, not a comprehensive guide. Trusted resources are linked below. If that was useful, 2 more worth your time. One puts the free versions of Claude, Gemini, and ChatGPT against each other on real work and reports which one won what. The other answers whether paying for one of these is worth it at all, which is a fair question to ask before you build a habit on one.